Since further path into the Boletarian Palace is blocked by the thick fog, we jump to the Archstone of Borrowed King and From Software's first attempt at creating arachnophobic nightmare, at least in their Souls series. I might cover Kingsfield one day, but who knows. I'm talking of course about Armored Spider. I don't really like this boss. It has this very cheap, poorly telegraphed attack that more often than not one-shots you. But let's start with the arena. Spider sits at the end of very long and narrow corridor, so you first have to run up to him while at the same time trying to dodge his fireballs and web projectiles. Although I don't fancy this encounter, I must admit I don't recall similar arena design from any other of From Software Souls games, so at least it gets some points for originality. Oh no, I just remembered some boss from Dark Souls 1. Yeah, it was released after the Demon's Souls, so also Demon's Souls was the first game in the series, so doesn't every boss deserve points for originality? Anyways, what happens when you finally reach it? Well, not much. You can only attack his claw mouth thing. He is an armored spider after all. At close range, he only has those two attacks, horizontal sweep and vertical smash. You just block or dodge, attack and repeat until you see it do this. Now you gotta run for your life, cause it will soon breathe fire that will cover almost all of the arena. How are you supposed to know that without dying to it first? I have no idea. This is what I will refer to as a cheap death, cheap attack. An attack is cheap when it is really poorly telegraphed or has no indicator to it at all, while at the same time it deals massive damage. I believe that the golden rules of designing good Souls game are every damage should be predictable and preventable. Of course there are some exceptions to this rule that work brilliantly, but I'll talk about them when time comes. Armored Spider is clearly not one of them. So, the fire breath comes and you have to run away to the safety, meaning all the way back through the same corridor. When the fire settles down, you have to run up to the spider once again. But he only has 3 different range attacks that are pretty well telegraphed, so it isn't that difficult to dodge them or block them with your shield. It either shoots web at you, if you get hit it covers you with it for a brief moment, single fireball, or 3 series of 3 fireballs. You will have to repeat this running back and forth 3-4 times depending on your DPS. When defeated, it will drop Hard Demon's Soul and almost 6000 souls. There are 2 different spells and 1 weapon that can be crafted from Spider's Soul. Lava Bow from Blacksmith Ed, Fire Spray from Sage Freke, and Ignite from Yuria the Witch. You can only get one of them for playthrough, so choose wisely. As for the tips, don't use fire. He is clearly a fire-breathing boss set in a fire-themed location, so use sticky substance instead. Where you got it, you can only lock onto the spider from about halfway through the tunnel, so aiming with a bow or crossbow is a good idea. When it comes to cheese and trivia, well, if you want, you can try to cheese him using Thief's Ring and the Cloak spell as soon as you enter the room. You'll be invincible for the boss, that is of course until the spell runs off. Thanks for watching, see you tomorrow.